In this video, we're reviewing Hurry Up Tomorrow and giving you some mercy with a cherry cola cocktail called The Abyss, featuring Lana Del Rey. Today, on the Martini Shot. Hello and welcome to the Martini Shot, the home of movie reviews and movie-themed cocktails. Before we get into the review, let's whip ourselves up a drink. So, contrary to what you may think after listening to this review, but I really enjoy The Weeknd's music, and I do enjoy his latest album. So I wanted to pick a song that was kind of reflective of the movie as well. And so I settled on The Abyss featuring Lana Del Rey, a song that I feel is a little bit more underappreciated when it comes to the full track list. So it's gonna be a little dark, a little moody, a little bit sensual. That's kind of the feel of the film. And I realized that for like the 3 years I've been doing this show, I don't think I've made a cola cocktail, but we're gonna fix that today. Let's get into it. All right, go ahead and grab yourself a shaker. First, we're gonna be starting with a little bit of lime juice at ½ an ounce. And then we are going to be adding 4 whole cherries. I'm gonna be using fresh cherries, but if the only thing you happen to be able to get your hands on is maraschino cherries, you can use those as well. The final outcome might be a little bit different, but nothing major from what I would assume. And then you're going to muddle those cherries until they make a nice fleshy pulp. Then once you have that out of the way, you can go ahead and add ½ an ounce of vanilla syrup, ½ an ounce of amaretto or a almond liqueur, and then finally 2 ounces of tequila. Once you're done, go ahead and throw some ice in that shaker and shake to chill. Once you're done, you can go ahead and double strain that over a rocks glass filled with ice, and then go ahead and top it up with your preferred cola of choice. Since it's featuring Lana Del Rey, I'm gonna go ahead and use Pepsi. If you know, you know. And then finally, you can go ahead and garnish it with a cherry. And there you go, now you have The Abyss, featuring Lana Del Rey. I'll admit, I'm always a little bit hesitant whenever you combine light spirits with dark sodas. But you know, the tequila and the cola actually work really well alongside each other. The cherries are kind of brightening everything up, adding a little bit of tartness. And then on the back end of the flavor profile, you're getting a little bit of that vanilla, a little bit of that dessert sweetness. The tequila brings kind of this kind of earthy, kind of grassy complexion to the soda. The taste of it is definitely there on the front end, but the cola really subdues it along with the cherry and the vanilla. So you're definitely tasting the tequila, but you're not getting that powerful mouth bite you might be expecting. Sure, tequila and cola might sound a little bit trashy, but sometimes that's not a bad thing. Now that we have our drink, let's get right into the review. All right, full disclosure before we get into this, I bought a ticket for Final Destination's Bloodlines and went into the wrong theater. That is not a joke. I was very confused why Final Destination had such an artsy opening. And you know I was confused why The Weeknd was there too. Sure, I could have gotten up and went to the right theater, maybe missed some of the first few minutes, but what if this was a sign? What if this was fate and the gods directing me towards a destiny I didn't know I was headed towards? If that's the case, I would like to take all of the gods, shuffle them into a room, and then nuke them off the face of the earth. Hurry Up Tomorrow is an experimental psychological thriller concocted by singer-songwriter Abel Tesfaye, aka The Weeknd, and director Trey Edward Schultz, who you may know from It Comes at Night and Waves. The film is meant to be a companion piece to Weeknd's latest album of the same name, while taking viewers on a delirious journey through the tortured psyche of the artist. But if you were hoping for this to be a bold, insightful, or daring piece of art that holds a mirror up to its star, you may be shocked to find that the mirror is actually made of cement. This thing screams vanity and overindulgence without really delivering on anything unique or even enjoyable to watch. There's no real vulnerability to Weeknd's performance or his decision to play an exaggerated version of himself, while everyone else just kind of acts circles around him, trying to make the best of a mess. While visually interesting and at times a feast for the senses, it comes to service the narrative very little, hoping to instill anxiety and panic into a film that I just couldn't take seriously. This really wanted to be an avant-garde 8 Mile, but ended up being not much better than This Is Me Now. Celebrity Brain is a hell of an enigma. In the film, Tesfaye plays a fictionalized version of himself, reeling from a breakup caused by his own issues, while he begins to crumble under the physical demands of touring and performing. When he reaches his limit and strains his voice, he ends up fleeing the limelight with a troubled superfan, Anima. But things begin to take a dark turn when Anima tries to make Abel look deep inside himself, coming to terms with his own demons and flaws. I think. Yeah, the film gets pretty abstract at times, but it never really feels like it makes its intentions even semi-clear at any point, except for it being a surface-level reflection for The Weeknd. I feel like I know what Abel was trying to achieve with a film like this, but it doesn't help that he himself does not have the screen presence to make it work. We all clowned on him for his performance in The Idol, and his acting chops have not really improved all that much this time around, aside from the fact that he spends most of the movie crying. And yet there's never really a moment that gives us anything to latch onto. It kind of feels like the film wants to humanize the megastar, but his deliveries and actions actually make him feel far more alien. Whether it's him giving a half-hearted wee while on an electric scooter or whiningly telling Jenna Ortega to STFU, he feels so far removed from being an actual person. And you know, that could have been an interesting direction to take this, but the rest of the film feels so self-absorbed while simultaneously giving us nothing to learn about the singer. He went through a messy breakup he's refusing to take responsibility for, but no real emotional maturity is ever shown throughout the film, even though it acts like it's being super soul-bearing. And unfortunately, having better actors around Abel does not help in the slightest. Barry Keoghan is fine as the sneakily manipulative manager Lee, but the character is what you'd expect. Overbearing, drug peddling, and slimy. Jenna Ortega, on the other hand, has a lot more layers to her as pyromaniac drifter Anima. It's just a shame those layers never really get pulled back at all. We're introduced to her while she's tearfully burning down a house, and that's about as interesting as her character gets. In a way, she kind of becomes this guide that may be metaphorical for Abel coming to terms with his issues, but again, that kind of introspection doesn't really happen. We get to see her sing Blinding Lights and dance around while a tied to the bed Abel cries, which is admittedly pretty funny. Her performance is fine for what she's given, but I'm just so confused by some of Ortega's project choices as of late. My first thought when I was watching this was that this was a Sam Levinson joint, mostly because of its erratic camera work and a striking use of color. He had nothing to do with it apparently, but it does kind of check the boxes of the actual director, Trey Edward Schultz, as well. He's one of those directors from what I'd call the prime era of A24 that I just never really dug all that much. A lot of what I admire about his work is here, but it had little emotional effect on me. The panic-inducing scenes of flashing lights and abrasive music didn't unnerve me at all because of how they were implemented alongside this character I was never given a reason to care about. Sure, it illustrates his own paranoia and mental state, but if I don't have any reason to be interested in this character, I'm not going to be unnerved. I'm going to be annoyed. Don't get me wrong, a lot of the film is stunning to look at, but it's in service to ultimately nothing. The whole thing is stuck between the vagueness of a music video and the directness of a narrative feature. We learn nothing of note from this character other than he's sorry for what he did. That isn't interesting, and he doesn't even directly acknowledge what he did or why he should be sorry. Jenna Ortega singing his songs to him while talking about how emotionally deep they are does not reflect the humility that comes with looking deep inside yourself, especially when you are the one conceptualizing, producing, and starring in a movie ultimately about you. Plus, the surrealism of it all just doesn't get out there enough to really be memorable, which is a shame because I felt that more in The Weeknd's own music videos than this film. By the end, you feel like nothing happened at all. No message was made, no lesson was learned, and no worthwhile point was ever presented. Look, I really enjoy The Weeknd's music to the point where I know he's probably capable of something a little less generic than this. Hurry Up Tomorrow just felt like a basic film about inner demons and taking accountability, but it's presented in such a vapid and self-conflated way that I couldn't engage with what it was trying to say. Stylistic for sure, but there's nothing really substantial underneath it all to latch onto or take away. It really just felt like a vanity project designed to catapult The Weeknd to a higher level of artistic integrity, but he couldn't actually take that needed step towards vulnerability that doesn't make it look like you're still trying to aura farm the entire time. Forget Tomorrow, I was waiting for an hour and 40 minutes to hurry up and end. For my rating, I'm giving this film 1.5 gasoline tanks out of 5. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Martini Shot. If you saw Hurry Up Tomorrow, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. If you like what you saw here and would like to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me across all social media channels. Those links are down in the description below. And if you enjoy movie reviews and movie-themed cocktails, be sure to check out my website, martinishot.blog. Until next time, thank you again for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Live deliciously, but please remember to drink responsibly.